What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to a historic episode of Lobbing Scorchers. Folks, it is our 100th episode. We have hit triple digits. And Noah, we are about to lay down another emphatic dub pod for it. How are you feeling?
It's only down from here, Ari. It's only down from here. Ladies and gentlemen, 100. Thank you for sticking with us. And if you've been here since the beginning, you know that this started out as a Seattle Seahawks podcast, obviously.
It's crazy to think about the early days. But yeah, triple digits, man. It's a big milestone for us. We really appreciate everyone tuning in each and every week and helping facilitate the growth of our show, which I think, Noah, it's safe to say it's grown to be a bigger operation than we thought when we started this thing.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think we could have ever imagined that this number of people would be listening to us and that we would have multiple employees working on the production of the show and still looking like this, you know?
it is a dub pod for our special 100th episode, a 3-1 victory for Seattle Sounders at Houston Dynamo, 4th win in 5 matches. I mean, the dub pods are becoming routine these days. The Sounders remain one of, if not the hottest teams in Major League Soccer. Danny Musovski has made some history, scoring for a 5th straight game. Albert Rusnák scored 2 goals. That didn't count. And Ryan Kent might just be the greatest player alive. We're going to talk about all that in our game review, hit our agenda check, and hit our winners and losers from Matchday 12 in MLS. It's going to be a great 100th episode. But before we do all that, I do have to let you all know that Lobbing Scorchers is a part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. If you want to get the best independent Seattle soccer coverage, consider supporting us by going to sounderatheart.com/LS. No, what's that link?
Sounderatheart.com/LS.
Scroll down to subscribe and support to get 30 days completely free. Every sign up through our link helps support and grow this show. The road to 100 Sounder at Heart subs.
It's alive and well,
It's
Ari.
alive and well. It's a great time to become a member with the season in full swing. Subs also get access to the audio-only versions of our live shows right to your podcast feed.
We had a great one yesterday.
Do we have any new subs to thank?
We do. Parker Meacham, thank you so much for becoming a Sounder at Heart supporter. You are number 90. Do we know?
Oh, that's Waylon.
Yeah, that's Waylon Francis.
Parker, thank you for becoming our Waylon.
We appreciate you.
Shout out to our sponsors, Hacks on Ferments, Podium Menswear, Full Pull Wines, My Data Removal, and Body Spec. If you're watching on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on all socials, especially Instagram, as we try and gain credibility on that platform, which is actually going decently well. Anything else we need to show before we get into this dub pod, Noah?
No, we're just existing and doing great things. I have to suggest that you go back if you haven't and watch our Wade Weber interview that we did at Starfire Sports. We've got an exclusive vlog coming out.
It's really good.
It's so good.
We got a guy who edits the videos.
Yeah.
Like
Eric,
real professional like.
Yeah, Eric is our new producer guy, and he's incredible, and we are so excited to share some of the content that we're making. We'll be out in Portland this weekend, so please, if you see us, come say hello. We'll also be making content there, so we may ask you to talk at the camera for a minute. So don't be shy. Come up and say what's up. But that's all I had.
All right, let's get into this dub pod, Noah. 100th episode dub pod.
100 dub pods.
100 dub pod. It feels
Even
like...
if they're L pods, they're always dub pods in my heart.
It feels like it's been 100 dub pods in the last few weeks here. 4 out of 5 dub pods, so feeling blessed.
And a drop pod, you know?
And a drop pod. Seattle Sounders 3, Houston Dynamo 1. Noah, let's hit our lineup reaction before we get into the key moments. I was very happy and excited when I saw this lineup. Going into this game, I was sort of assuming that De La Vega was going to be a written in pen starter, so to speak. So in my mind, it was sort of a debate of who do you start, Paul Rothrock or Ryan Kent. And we got a lineup that had both Paul Rothrock and Ryan Kent. And I love that. That front four is the exact front four I actually wanted to see in this game. And I didn't think that we were going to get it. So I was really happy to see it. And I thought it worked really well. Rothrock looked great in the first half. So I think this was my favorite 11 of the season so far. Noah, what did you think?
I thought it was the perfect lineup. Abate, I probably would have loved to see Jordan get into this lineup and feast a little bit. But other than that, man, I mean, this is quite literally perfection. You've got, and it's funny to say that it's perfection too, because it is not what we would have expected would have been the best 11 starting out this season.
My thing was that you had to start Rothrock in this game because he's a Houston Dynamo merchant. He
Correct.
Dominates this team. So
if he's gonna have a goal contribution, it's gonna be against Houston.
But I thought that meant that Ryan Kent wouldn't be starting, and then he was. So
how do you not start him after last match? And I think that's exactly what happened.
But it's like it brings up these lineup debates that we're going to be having. Even going back to preseason, we were talking about how in a first choice 11, it might arguably not include De La Vega. But De La Vega has had a really good start to the season. So it's all good problems to have. But I really loved how they lined it up in this game. And it ended up paying off quite handsomely in the first half. Let's get into our key moments because Noah, this game was a really good game. Like it was back and forth, end to end, a lot of action, and
probably the most memorable 8 minutes of Houston Dynamo defender and friend of the pod Femi Awodesu's career.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get into that, but there's a lot of things I think to like about this performance from Seattle on the road. Starting with, when you're the road team in a situation like this, I think your first objectives are to weather whatever storm there might be with the home team coming out, trying to get on top of you and controlling the action and generating chances and all that. You're probably going to have to absorb a little bit of pressure. The other team might have a couple of looks. So you need to get through that without conceding, and then ideally get the first goal yourself. And that's exactly what Seattle did. Houston, they controlled some of the run of play, I think, for the first 20 minutes, but I thought it was relatively even, and Seattle didn't get all that close to conceding, I don't think, until the 22nd minute when we got another Moose goal, 5th straight game, and this was a great goal. The Houston center back had a little bit of a rough one on this one. He totally whiffed on the ball that was coming in over the top, and that left Paul Rothrock with as much space as he could ever want. And that's not what you want to see if you're the Houston Dynamo defense, is Paul Rothrock chugging up that right side into acres of space. Rothrock puts in a beautiful cross, and the run that Moose made on this play, his movement was fantastic. The way he moved off that guy's shoulder, where I think the CB thought that he was with him, and Moose just floats to the far post, times that up perfectly, and free header off great delivery from Rothrock. Now, I do have a grievance with this goal, which is that they apparently have taken away Paul Rothrock's assist, which...
The game's gone.
I'm going to complain about this. It might not seem significant because they got the goal anyway, but I have no idea what we are talking about with not giving Paul Rothrock the assist. I don't know if it's some like rigid adherence to a rule where if it gets deflected at all, you take the assist away. If that is what they're doing here, that's just stupid because I don't think whatever deflection there was did not meaningfully change the trajectory of the cross.
No.
So that is absolutely Paul Rothrock's assist. And it actually does matter. Like stat sheet production, like there are bonuses that ride on that sometimes. And if you put in a ball like that, you got to have the assist. So hopefully that gets rectified. I looked at his stat sheet today and they still hadn't given to him. What the hell, man? What are we doing?
Listen, if that was Messi, you know who gets an assist on the score sheet? Messi. I'm just saying, we gotta provide an even slate here for statistics.
It's laughable to think of them taking an assist away if it was Messi or any other like big star player in the league. They're taking away because it's Paul Rothrock, and they're like, oh well, it got deflected.
It didn't even like. Okay, I understand if it's a deflection that's like very meaningfully changes the trajectory of the ball. But he put in a cross with space. And yes, absolutely, the little tip of the foot arced the ball a little bit more and made it maybe a little bit easier for Moose to head that in. But you can't tell me that Paul Rothrock didn't put in the effort to build up that cross and put it in. And then it gets like, I don't know, man. This is
It's just one of those things. We all know that that's Paul Rothrock's assist. Like it's common
just like
sense.
Danny Leyva scored on his debut. Paul Rothrock got an assist in this game.
I honestly have no idea what they're talking about with that. But either way,
this is why stats are always lying to you, Ari.
The stat of assists. Either way, they get the goal, and like I said, that I think that's the first thing to the first positive. We'll get into positive and negatives, but the first positive, you withstand whatever early pressure there was from Houston. And then you get the first goal. You can't really draw up the start to a road game any better than that. But then, just 10 minutes later, the Houston Dynamo did find their equalizer. Noah, Lobbing Scorchers has had exactly one guest from a different team in MLS in the history of our show. Who was that guest?
Femi Awodesu.
Femi Awodesu, who the story of Femi Awodesu in this game was very it was a roller coaster.
It was an up and down.
It was a harrowing tale that had highs and lows. And I just thought it was so funny that he ended up being such a key character in this game because you interviewed him.
I did.
Like you interviewed him. That was for those who don't know, go watch Noah's interview with Femi, friend of the pod. But he's a very cool kid. He went to Penn State, so I think that's why you were initially drawn to him. But he's also a content guy. He has a really awesome YouTube actually, where he basically does like behind the scenes documentary style content of him trying to make it as an MLS player, and it's like very compelling, well done content. Noah interviewed him about it, and then in this game he gets his first MLS goal.
Yep. And his first MLS red card.
Yeah, well, yeah. So we're gonna get to that, but first he got the equalizer.
Yep.
And
it was a great header.
It was a great header, and Jack McGlynn has one of the best left feet in MLS.
Beside Messi.
He might have as good a left foot as Messi.
That's
I don't
true.
know. He looked like in this game with the delivery that he was putting in, but it was a great free kick, very good header by Femi. No, I think we're gonna have to start a new segment on this show for whenever the Sounders concede, called "Was That Stephen Frei's Fault?"
Oh my God! Here we go.
There was more discourse about that.
The dumbest people you know online.
For me, when the CB has a free header from literally point blank range, you're kind of asking to get scored on. Like if you simulate that shot 100 times, Stephen Frei might save it 50. I don't know. Like I feel like it doesn't really matter in this case. The problem was that the CB had a free header from literally directly in front of the goal. So for this new segment, I'm going to say no, but
okay, yeah. Are you ready for my take on this? Because I'm tired of the slander, Ari. I'm tired of it because later in this game, not only did Stephen Frei prove himself once again to be the reason that he's starting, very quality goalkeeper and someone who can save results. I think the reason that people thought that this was his fault was the way in which he splayed out his body in a comedic fashion to try and save the goal. But like you said, if he's point blank range and you're any kind of professional soccer player, I think that 9 times out of 10, that's going in the back of the net if you have a free header. So I'm going to put that on the defense way more than I'm going to put that on Stephen Frei. Could Stephen Frei have done a better job? I'm sure he could have, and I bet you that's exactly what he would have told you in the post game. But I think the reality is, why are you bashing on the goalkeeper for that? Yeah. I'm not really sure. That's really stupid.
And we're going to talk about Seattle's set piece defending later, but for me, that was more of the issue on this play than the goalkeeping.
Why has it become such a issue? Is it just like the new who? Is it like the new who's gotten good, so we've got to move on to something else?
I mean, I think it's because he's up in his late 30s, so maybe people have concerns as to decline. But I personally have not seen goalkeeping really be the biggest issue with the defense this year. I think there's maybe a few that you could point to where he could have done a little bit better. You could also point to a lot of really great saves that he's made. As you pointed out, he made one later on in this game, which we'll talk about. But Houston equalizes on 32 minutes, and that was unfortunate because you put yourself in a good situation, 1-0, and you have 10 plus minutes to get to halftime at 1-0, which I think that's really, obviously you want the second goal, but really I think the biggest priority is getting to halftime, still having the lead. And they couldn't quite do that. But since they scored first, they were still in great position to take a result. That's why you want to score first. So a little bit of a mixed bag there. But then 6 minutes later, we have to get back to the story of Femi Awodesu because it took a tragic turn. This was the controversial call of the game. We're going to get to that in our Blazing Hot Coach Presser of the week. But this was a controversial call. Stefan Frei comes off his line and just absolutely smashes a long ball over everybody. And Danny Musovski makes a run to try and track the ball down. He and Femi are jostling for position. And then Moose chests it down, and it looks like he actually controls it in a way where he's going to have a pretty free shot on goal. But then the referee calls Femi for a DOGSO handball and initially points to the spot for a penalty. It looked like it might have been inside the box. But then...
And upon 10-minute review...
Yeah.
Expeditious 10 minutes.
Got a nice little 10-minute review in there, but he sent him off for DOGSO and called the penalty. They video review it and determined that it was just outside the box, but that the DOGSO red stood. And Ben Olsen was not happy about that. You could see that much on the broadcast, and then also in his press conference after the game. But let's just talk about the call. I'll give my take on this call, which is that, all right, I always try and think of these things like if the roles were reversed, you know, and if a Seattle player got called for that.
This is one of your best takes, by the way.
It would, it's tough. It's tough. I don't think he was trying to do it. I think it was like inadvertent. But I think that... Okay, if they hadn't DOGSO redded him, I don't think I would have had that much of an issue with it. But I think the call makes sense because Moose won the positioning battle there. And that ball, he's chesting that ball down. And if Femi doesn't have his hand out there and it hits his hand, it is an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, I think. So it's horrifically unlucky for the kid. I felt bad for him. But I think the call made sense. I think it did.
I think that the call does make sense, but that said, I am of the opinion, I guess, that it sucks. Like, yes, you're right. If we're looking at the letter of the law, that's called correctly, and I think it was even more called correctly, and I'm glad that they didn't issue a penalty when it wasn't in the penalty area, blah, 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 blah. But man, like you got to feel hard done by that. Like I feel like that's like just, they're playing, you know? I don't think that Femi is the reason that Moose was I don't think there was any like very blatant impediment of him. I just like...
But he's impeding the ball going down where Moose is going to have a goal-scoring opportunity with his hand.
I guess, like, it's the whole natural position versus unnatural position versus, like, oh, well, this is a handball, but that's not a handball, but this is a handball, but that's a red. It just sucks. I think I don't know. The guidance is like really clear on certain things and super unclear on others. And like I'm saying, like I think it was the right call. I think the referee made a really like good decision there in terms of letter of the law and doing his job. But you got to feel hard done, and you got to kind of feel bad for the kid. Like
I feel bad for him.
I feel bad for him.
He was so upset, and he like that was in a 6-minute stretch for the ages there. His first MLS, like his YouTube is gonna pop this week,
dude. If he does, Femi, if you do not clickbait the hell out of that, lost respect on the YouTube game, bro. But no, it's really for me. It's like, yes, I understand it is, but like if it's happening to my player, I'm gonna be pissed off, and like that sucks.
We talk about stuff like this all the time, but if you just clean reverse these roles and it was Yamar who got called for that, my take would be that sucks. It's horrifically unlucky, and it's really tilting because he literally was not trying to do it at all.
Yeah,
but as the CB in that situation, you got to have the awareness to not even give the ref the opportunity to make a call like that.
That's
and
fair.
We'll get to this more
that's
when
a
we
good
get to
shout.
the Ben O actually talked about that in his presser. So when we do the Blazing Hot Coach presser, we'll dig into that a little bit more. But
no, I think you're right though, because if I'm seeing if Yamar does this, I'm blaming Yamar. Like, do you know what I mean? I mean, also he's a veteran, so I would be like,
it is a
all right,
little
this
different.
is your fault, but it's just it's a tough scenario.
It's one of those ones where you're putting it in the hands of the ref in a 50-50 situation, and when you do that, you're going to get burned sometimes. That's just how it goes. And people will probably say we're like being homers on that or whatever, but I will stand on that. There's been a lot of calls that have gone against Seattle that are similar to this, where we always acknowledge that. We say like we might not like the call or it might be an unlucky call, but it's on you to not put yourselves in situations where those calls can go against you. And I think it was unlucky, but one thing I know is that pretty much every good team I've ever watched, it seems like they get all the lucky breaks like that. And then not good teams, that stuff seems to always go against them, So it was tough for the kid, though. It was tough. Right after your first MLS goal, get sent off.
And I'm sure we would feel differently if the result had been impacted by a no call. Do you know what I mean? Like if that hadn't been called and the Sounders end up losing 2-1,
I would be complaining about
maybe there's a different
about the Jackson Travis thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I have to give props, to the official for that, because he made the right decision, but it's just like the game of soccer is so cruel sometimes, man. It's so cruel.
So Seattle wasn't able to get the second goal before the half. I actually really liked the set piece that they ran, like on the one from outside the box where the handball was. Yeah, where Christian Christian sets it up and Rusnák comes in and just blasts it. It didn't quite get executed into a goal. Right. But I liked what they were trying there. And I was really hoping in the immediate aftermath of the red card, like, all right, jump on him right here. Get this second goal right here. And they weren't quite able to do that, but not the worst situation in the world. You still got a whole half to play, up a man. And at that point, it is you gotta go out and capitalize. That is your objective. You have been given a man advantage. You have a whole half up a man. No reason why you shouldn't be able to go out and bang a couple goals and win the game and start the road trip off with a 3-point result, which, we were talking about our expectations for this road trip. Getting this win to start it off puts you in a really good situation. So whatever you think of the call, with the red card happening, it was Seattle's duty to go out and capitalize on it, take advantage of the situation. And I think that's the other thing that I really liked about this performance was how efficient they were in doing that to start the second half. They did not waste any time at all. I thought the response coming out of the locker room was excellent. Literally the first sequence of play on second half kickoff, the Houston Dynamo didn't even touch the ball, and the Sounders get their second goal in the 46th minute. Albert Rusnák. This was a great team goal. How about the dime from Yamar on this?
What a pass.
God.
He was looking like Jackson Reagan.
He was looking like Jackson Reagan
that.
out there. Excellent pass from Yamar to thread in De La Vega, who entered at halftime.
A man possessed entered at halftime.
Well, so, okay, what was your take when you saw that Rothrock was off for De La Vega at half? Did you like that, or were you tilted?
Yeah, I didn't mind that. I thought it was great because, for me, I was thinking, okay, there's a midweek game coming up. The reality of what Brian is doing is giving himself an opportunity to play either Rothrock or De La Vega or both together. And I liked the potential there. You give them both 45 and you can run them another 45, 50, 60 in the midweek game.
It's cool to see how this depth is really taking shape, and like you can do stuff like that when you have fixture congestion in a big road trip like this. Give a guy 45 and give another guy the second half. And this one paid off immediately. Again, great dime from Yamar to spring De La Vega there. And it was a back heel from Alex Roldan, actually. Or wait, is that am I thinking of the wrong one?
I can't remember, but regardless.
Either way. No. I think the back heel was the
third goal.
No. It was this one because the other one was Ryan Kent.
That's right. You're right. Ryan Kent with the anyway.
So nice back heel from Alex Roldan off the Yamar dime to find De La Vega, and I don't think it should be slept on how good a pass this was from De La Vega. Actually, I watched the sequence again right before you came over, Noah. Mm-hmm. And God, I mean, this team's chance generation is just so good right now. He actually, if he sent in a low cross right in front of goal, he had Moose right there. So that could have been a goal. But I think the higher percentage look was actually exactly what he did, which was hitting Rusnák as the trailing runner into just acres of space in the box. Rusnák is cash money from right there. It was just an excellent read by De La Vega to not just smash it across the front of goal, but to pick out Rusnák in all that space and make it an even higher percentage chance. I mean, I don't know. We don't know what would have happened if he had tried to hit Moose, but what he did was, I think, the right play. And that was really good to see from De La Vega. I talked about this on the post-game live, but I felt like the last couple weeks he wasn't as influential as he looked earlier in the season in CCC and then some of the run that he got before he got injured. So I really wanted to see him impact the game in some sort of way, and he did so instantaneously. That was great to see. Just a great assist from Pedro there. What'd you see on this goal?
I loved this goal so much because I was literally taking a shower at halftime because I was just knew we were going to do the post game and whatever, and I'd been bumming around all day. And I heard my phone notification go off, and I was like, okay, halftime's over. So I turn off the shower, I get out, whatever. And I look, and it's like, goal, 46th minute. And I'm like, oh shit. Click on Apple TV. I spam the rewind button, and I'm just like, this is a thing of goddamn beauty. And it was so good. And like, to the point of what you were saying, the fact that this offense basically generated two equal options to where De La Vega, either decision that he makes is the right decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can play in Moose, who's in a very, very, very good position to score, or he can play in Albert, who's in, arguably a better position to score. And there's a second runner there. Who was running there with him? Was that Jesus or?
No, he wasn't in yet. I don't.
Who was it? I can't remember. There was maybe it was Obed who was crashing with him, but like that was just great.
I love the goals that this team is scoring right now. It's the exact type of goals that you want to see in terms of, they're not fluky. They're not against the run of play. They're sustainable. They're repeatable. It just looks like a well-oiled machine right now. And we're gonna talk about some of this same stuff on this next goal that Seattle scored in the 58th minute to dust this game. Another Albert Rusnák goal. Ryan Kent. Okay, let's talk about Ryan Kent because the first half, people were talking a lot about how he didn't look as good as he had in his first few appearances, especially in that last one against St. Louis. I thought early in the game he had a couple more moments that were bums off seats moments, but they were double teamed. He was getting double teamed a lot in the first half, and I would say it's fair to say that it wasn't quite as like the St. Louis game was just crazy. It was every time he was on the ball, and this wasn't quite like that. But I think this play that he gets his third assist of the season on, it's just another one of those individual plays where, yeah, it's not like every week is not going to look like the St. Louis game where he's just absolutely dominating every single time he touches the ball. That's not sustainable. But like this play, it's like, okay, he's got this type of stuff in his bag at any time. So let's just talk about this run that he made. If you look at this goal back where he starts that run, he's up against the sideline on the left side, probably closer to midfield than he is to the 18. And he just goes on a gallivanting run through the Houston Dynamo defense. What I thought was the best part of this run was how he used Obed as a shield.
Dude, as a blow-up practice dummy.
That was just brilliant. Oh, God, his IQ, how he has been freeing himself into all this space. He's just got so many different ways of doing it. We saw it in the St. Louis game where he's doing dummies and like letting the ball go past the defender and then running onto it, and then he's got all this space. This one, he gets himself to the touchline by using Obed as a shield and really like freeing himself into even more space than you could ever hope for a winger getting in the primary assist zone like that. And then he lays the ball back across perfectly. Noah, again, two different guys could have finished this goal. Rusnák gets it, but if he didn't, De La Vega was right there. It was such a high quality chance that literally, like, if one guy didn't score it, like the other guy would have just as easily. So was part of that them being up a man? Probably, but just a great run by Ryan Kent. And then like to have the runners right there, both waiting to finish. I mean, you can't draw it up any better.
This formation is perfect. Like, I know we're not the tactics podcast, but like this formation is perfect for this lineup. And I know Brian, like in the post game, said, oh, like we're not committed to any one formation, we'll move it around based on This is exactly what this formation brings you. Like you're just saying, like I was bringing up, the options are endless when you have these incredibly talented wingers and these really high IQ, like strikers and central midfielders. Like Albert as a 10 is really great at finding that space. Jesus is great at finding that space, and Moose has been amazing at finding his lines and his space and kind of just being a menace, right?
Yeah,
and that's all you could ever ask for. But to go back to the Ryan Kent thing, it's like, dude, he looks like he's played with these guys for 2 years. How do you have the confidence in your teammate? In Obed Vargas, that you're just gonna like dummy around him, get the ball on the other end, and Obed's just gonna stop moving and not try and take the ball or think you're passing to him, because that sequence doesn't happen if Obed sticks his foot out because he thinks you lose the ball or whatever. It's like so clear that this team knows how high of a soccer IQ and just how much talent that Ryan Kent has. They're like, yeah, bro, just go, go, bro. Like, we're not gonna. If the ball, if you make me a pass, it's going to land at my feet, so I'm just not going to worry about it until it gets there.
Yeah. Again, I loved everything about how Seattle came out in the second half. That was an absolute clinic in how you play up a man on the road. Great execution, very professional performance, how they dusted this game off. And really, once Rusnák gets the third goal, I wouldn't say you're in cruise control, but really you just have to make sure nothing stupid happens from that point on. And we're gonna do positives and negatives, and we'll hit on some of the things in the second half that maybe weren't so great. But I think on the whole, getting the first goal and then the way they were able to take advantage of the red card was great. That is not a given. Like a lot of times when a team goes down a man, they close up shop and they try and make it as hellaciously difficult as possible for you to get the winning goals. And I think from listening to Ben O, I think that is what he wanted his team to do. So good on Seattle for not letting that happen, going out in the second half, immediately getting the go-ahead goal, and then not sitting on that, getting the third goal that just puts your win probability at an extremely high level. And they go on to see it out at 3-1. There was one other key moment that I had, which was the Stephen Frei save on Griffin Dorsey's header. That was one of the best saves I've seen in MLS this season. I don't know if it's going to be a save of the year contender. It might be, but it was that good. That was a great save.
It was so good. And, he's washed, so.
All right, we're going to take an ad break, and then we're going to hit Lobbing, Scorchers, Man of the Match, and positives and negatives, and agenda check, and Blazing Hot Presser when we come back.
Whoa. You were having a little bit too much fun. You're having a tiny bit too much fun, so we got to take a pause, and you got to do an ad, okay? This is the ad right here. It's me asking you, begging you, pleading with you. Become a YouTube member, okay? It is one of the best ways to help support our channel, help us continue to do content like this, and get exclusive content along the way. We have been posting extra podcast content consistently for our YouTube members only, exclusive parts of interviews that we just, it was too much. We couldn't release them publicly. So hear us out, become a YouTube member, tons of cool emotes, tons of exclusive content, and you keep supporting this show and helping us do more fun stuff like this, like going out to Starfire and watching Open Cup games. That is it. Become a YouTube member. Link down in the description, or just click the join button down below. Back to your video.
Welcome back. If you skipped the ads, we know what you did. Don't skip the ads. Noah, let's do Lobbing, Scorchers, Man of the Match. You go first. Who you got?
It was a tough one, Ari. I don't know. I really went back and forth on this. And man, you're really just putting me in a tough spot, because honestly, I was gonna hear yours.
I have mine.
But I think I have to go with someone who's a little under the radar, but I think had a monster game and has been showing up in a monster way, and that's Christian Roldan.
Good choice.
I think he's doing a ton of the dirty work for the Sounders, and in ways that are obviously, if you know ball, and you're like, that dude's a beast. But, I don't think he's necessarily getting the praise because he's not getting on the score sheet or the assist sheet. But this game and this double pivot of Obed and Christian is functioning so damn well. And I just think that he had a monster game here. If I'm looking at his stats, obviously he played full 90, 72 of 76 for passes. That is an insane amount of passes, and a 95% pass completion rate is crazy.
In a game where it's not like they were just knocking the ball around.
No.
Like the offense was firing. So to complete that high a percentage is very impressive.
And then I think this is an even more, like if we're talking stats, this is an even more impressive stat. 10 of 11 for long balls.
For Christian?
For Christian.
Wow.
10 of 11 for long balls. Now, I mean, obviously, I don't know exactly what they count as a long ball, but regardless, 91% on accurate long balls. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then if you even want to talk about something that he's even better at, he was 2 for 2 on tackles, had a block, a clearance, a headed clearance, 3 interceptions, 3 interceptions, 8 recoveries, and 2 dribbles, won 10 duels, and lost 6. So, I mean, the guy just was kind of a monster in the midfield, an unmovable object, and I just feel like he is helping unlock this offense as well, just in ways that, like, there's security in taking risk with Christian Roldan on the field.
Yeah, it's a great pick. Christian is on absolute fire right now. Man, I love watching him body a guy off the ball and win possession. Like that's always been, like, I would say his, like, superpower is that exact thing. The last few weeks, where he's winning the ball, how he's winning the ball, just beasting out there, man. Like, this is, I think, one of the better little runs of form of his career, honestly. And that's been great to see because after the San Diego game, there was a consternation about how not just him, just how the double pivot looked in that game. And really, ever since then, they've been dominant. So great response from that result. Really just in general, I would say, but particularly from the double pivot, they've been playing pretty lights out ever since. Christian in particular, you can make an argument. I think Moose is the MVP of this little 5-game run that they've had.
Easily.
Christian's right up there.
Yeah.
I got Albert Rusnák as my man of the match.
Albatross snack, baby.
The haters are going to say that they don't count. They're going to say that they don't count. But guess what? If Seattle had gone up a man in this game and Albert Rusnák hadn't scored any goals, the people who say they don't count would be crushing him. So if you acknowledge that that's the case, then you literally have to give him credit for capitalizing, the whole team, but him in particular for getting into good spots, capitalizing, making no doubt about this result. I know that the narratives are going to be the same thing as the Sean Zawadzki game, and I will acknowledge that the comedy behind, like, that he's racked 5 goals against teams with 10 men. But I'll say the same thing that I said back then, which is that part of what you pay your DPs to do is when you are put in an advantageous situation like that, make sure you capitalize on it. Don't let anything silly happen. Put your foot on their neck and make sure that you get the win. He gets credit for doing that. 5 goals, 3 assists now on the season.
Sounds like a DP.
Even missing some time with injury, it's almost like he's producing like you want your DP to produce. And it's been good. I mean, he's got 3 goals in the last 2 games. They're going to say the penalty doesn't count. They're going to say this doesn't count because it was against a 10-man team. And the Houston Dynamo are on the list of teams where the goal... There's only 4 or 5 teams in the league where a Seattle Sounders player scoring a goal counts, and the Houston Dynamo aren't one of them. But they counted on the scoreboard, so that's all I care about.
Yeah, you know what? Houston's in 14th. Who gives a shit, man? They were down a man. Who gives a shit? You know what's crazy? He scored twice. He scored twice. It's
a tough one.
He didn't just do it once. He did it twice. And doesn't matter if he's a stat pad merchant. He scored twice.
This was a tough game for the Brigade.
I mean,
it was a tough game. It was a tough game for the Brigade too because De La Vega got an assist. They're down bad for this.
They're not doing well. It's tough, but also the Brigade is pro Kent. So it's like, you know, it's a balance.
It's a give and take there. Yeah. All right, let's hit positives and negatives. Positives.
Positive, the Brigade is upset.
That's always a positive. Brigade in the mud. Positives. The attack and chance generation right now are just so good.
Yeah.
I love watching this team play offense at the moment. Just again, the offense that they're playing it's sustainable. That's what's encouraging about it. Like just the patterns and the sequences of play they're putting together. It's just great footy. Again, very professional how they handled the red card, making absolute sure they took advantage of it and getting the win, not letting Houston hang around and get a lifeline and maybe squeeze out a draw. And that was part of because of the response coming out of the halftime locker room, which was also excellent. And then Rusnák with the 2 goals, and then Ryan Kent making another bums off seats play, Frei save. I mean, I think we covered most of it, but do you have any other positives that you wanted to add in there?
Yeah,
any
dude,
shout outs?
We're on an unbeaten streak.
Yeah, 4-0-1 in the last 5.
That's 5 games, taking points away. You've got a midweek winnable game and a end game. And
then you got a derby coming up.
Yeah,
so it's going to be a good test. But
going into Portland hot is always that feels good.
And going into this road trip, I think I was saying leading up to this game that picking this game off to start this road trip would be huge, because then you put yourself in a situation where obviously you want to try and 3-0-0 this. That's going to be the number 1 goal. But now you're already in a situation where worst case scenario, I mean, you could, I guess, lose the next 2 of these games.
Sure.
But worst case scenario, it feels like a 1-1-1, which would, I think that would be a little disappointing, but that wouldn't be like the worst thing in the world. So that's another positive. Just they put themselves in a good situation to really maximize this road trip, which is what we wanted them to do. So.
Yeah, I think we both were happy with 4 points out of the 3. You know what I mean? We were both like, if you were looking at this on paper, you'd be more than happy doing that. You're always happy to go down to Houston and get 3 points. Any road match, any road win is a good win in my book. And I mean, we'll see about these next 2 games, but you know, that is what it is.
Negatives. I only have one negative, but it's actually a pretty prominent negative that I think is if there is a concern about how they've been playing lately.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
It would be this. But so the set piece defending in general, I don't think it's been very good this season.
I think that's an understatement.
But the last 2 games in particular, it's not just the set piece defending, but this game in particular, they were conceding way too many free kicks in dangerous areas.
Yeah.
There was one way that the Houston Dynamo were going to take a result in this game, and it was while down a man. Mm-hmm. And that was Jack McGlynn with that goddamn left foot getting
set piece merchant,
getting free kicks in dangerous spots, and putting in lethal delivery and like generating high quality chances off those. That's how they scored their goal. And there was just too much of that in the second half where they were fouling Houston in these areas that was giving McGlynn a chance to do that. And that wasn't good. Like there were so many in the second half. I think the worst sequence of it was at the very end where Georgie gave up one, like in a pretty dangerous area.
That was so silly by him.
He didn't need to do that. The guy's back was to the 18. Like there's just no reason to pull him down right there. And then literally so that happened. Seattle got out of it, and I was like, okay, just don't do that again. Mm-hmm. Literally a minute later, Osaze did the same thing, and you are asking to get bammed on, repeatedly doing that. I understand. Like, I'm a reasonable guy. I understand. There's gonna be moments in a game where stuff happens, and you might give up looks like that, and you gotta just be able. You gotta be able to stand on your head defensively, win your headers, clear everything out, whatever, all that. But for me, there was too many instances in the second half of potentially throwing them a lifeline by giving them these fouls in dangerous areas where they have one of the best set piece takers in the league.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I literally have nothing else to add to that. I just think that it's kind of shocking that this is what they're deciding to be bad at right now, is just simply refusing to defend these set pieces.
I have more of an issue with the fouls, honestly.
Yeah, giving them up has been a crazy issue. I mean, we were harping on it about Yamar last week and the week before that, and now it's Georgie and an Osaze before that. And what are we doing? What are we doing? You're right. This is the way that you can beat the Sounders right now. Like, if you're looking at it from a tactical advantage, I am playing the hell out of the man when I'm in the final third for the Sounders, no matter what.
Yeah. So I think the good news is that is something that I think is fixable. Like it's hopefully doesn't become just like an inherent quality of the team. They've been good at defending set pieces in the Brian Schmetzer era. That's not something that's been, to my memory, like a consistent issue. So let's hope this is just kind of something that it's like, I don't know. We're a third of the way into the season now, and it has been kind of an issue all season. But really, like the St. Louis game too wasn't a set piece, but it's like it was another situation where the opposing team has one way of getting back into the game or taking a result in the game, and you're giving it to them. So yeah, that's the negative. All right, let's hit our agenda check. No, we got a lot written down here. I'll start
100th agenda check.
100th. I mean, I wonder what the agenda check probably became a thing like what episode like 10.
Gotta be. It was up there, and I don't think we did them every single episode. Well, I'm just saying it's
this
100.
This is a special 100th episode agenda check.
Yeah,
I'll start. My Danny Musovski is an MLS All-Star agenda. I'm gonna stay on this one. He scored.
It's looking hot, man.
He scored again. It's looking hot. He's got to. I mean, he's obviously not gonna stay this hot all season, but
maybe
if he keeps banging in goals and really like he is saving this team's ass right now, like with Jordan out, he's playing the position at as high level as anyone in MLS right now. Danny Musovski, aside from maybe Brian White, but low key like Moose is looking like Brian White right now.
He's feeling like he's Brian White right now. That's for sure.
If he keeps doing this and he's not on the All-Star team, I'm going to have a problem with that.
Give him a goddamn spot on the All-Star team. Who's even coaching? Who knows?
I have no idea. But
is it in Austin? I think it's in Austin.
This is not like sometimes the agendas are like a little facetious or we're doing bits. This is not a bit. If he keeps doing this, MLS All-Star.
I think we should go, regardless, I feel like we should go to MLS All-Star, but yeah, if he gets in, we will be front row. I'm buying an MLS All-Star Moose jersey if he becomes an All-Star. And if you missed the stream, I literally bought a $180 Danny Musovski jersey.
It's so sick. It's honestly,
so I'll wear it when it gets in. So
let's tell the people who don't know the full. It's a Las Vegas Lights.
It's a Las Vegas Lights kit from the 5 matches or whatever that he played there. Pretty sure it's game worn. It has a fucking Bitcoin logo on it. It's crazy, dude. It is crazy.
I'm actually jealous that you're gonna own that thing.
We'll put it up in the studio.
Next agenda I got here. Your Ryan Kent is goated agenda.
Tried to tell y'all.
People, I think if you ask people about the first half, they would say that this agenda was diminished. But I'm telling you, like, that run that he made on that goal, again, just another example of the type of stuff this guy has in the bag.
First away match too, by the way.
First away match with the squad. Just a fantastic individual play. He started running, he kept running, but again, just the Obed shield was just so good, and then also just the weight on the ball to like drop that in right where De La Vega and Rusnák are both running onto it. It was just like, I mean, the creativity and the technical ability all on display on that sequence. Excellent stuff.
Yeah, no, I have been obviously chirping constantly about my love and affection for the man. But this is, sure, you can say he had a slow start to the first half, but I would argue this is his first start for the club. This is an away match. This is a very different temperature and feeling and everything that you're going to have to get settled into. That's just how it goes, man. The first time you play in Houston, I don't think everyone's going to play up to their par, but I also think that he was serviceable. He was good. He wasn't Ryan Kent quality in that first half, but he was pretty good. And I think that he kind of suffered from the suffering from success, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like he's set
done
the bar
so good. Yeah,
he set the bar so high in the St. Louis game, and I think the first half was just like a I don't know if reality check is the right word, but it's just he's not going to do that. What he did to St. Louis every single game. That's just not like
that's unrealistic.
That's unrealistic. But I think the great thing about what we saw on the assist he got was it's just like he can come out with stuff like that at any given time in a game, even on games where he's maybe not at his best form. He can always, it seems like, come up with something like that.
And if that's not his best form, I think we're going to be just fine, Ari. Yeah. I think we're going to be just fine.
But really, I mean, the bums are off the seats. The bums are off the seats.
My bum is always off the seat for Ryan Kent, my GOAT.
The last agenda that I had here was just the Paul Rothrock is a Houston Dynamo merchant agenda. He lived up to it. This guy just dominates the Houston Dynamo. He loves playing this team.
They fear him, bro.
The Houston Dynamo fan base sees Paul Rothrock in their absolute nightmares. I mean, his first MLS goal, I think, was a game winner at Houston. If it wasn't his first, it was one of his first.
Yeah.
There was that one. I think he's scored there again. This time I think he scored against them in Seattle. And then this assist,
he had an Open Cup goal against them, I thought.
Okay,
too.
maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But if they don't give this assist back to him, I'm going to keep whining about it because that's bullshit. But
well, it's a good thing you have a direct line to the oligarchs.
Yeah,
Ari.
I mean, I'll have something to say to the oligarchs about this. But just another great Rothrock play. I loved that combination between him and Moose. The delivery and then. The movement on that goal by Moose was so good.
It was the way he peeled off his defender to get to that back post just even more was like,
oh, it's just,
dude, that's top tier striker play. Like that's
textbook. Textbook.
I continue to be impressed by Moose. I continue to eat crow for every type of shit that I talked about him because that is a beautiful goal. That is a beautiful goal,
and they're all
great.
They're all like that. Like that. This one was
the little
especially
spinny
good,
turn one. All of them. They've been increasingly just like so good. And
if Emmanuel Latte Loth was doing what Moose is doing right now, he would be hailed as the greatest signing ever.
Which fun fact? Moose has more goals.
Moose has more goals. All comps. No, what do you got?
Paul Rothrock, Houston Dynamo merchant. Give him the goal back. I can't remember what else I was going to say about this, honestly. Assist back. Yeah, give him the assist back. And whatever. If I remember what I was going to say, I'll
well, you got let's hit your agendas.
All right, my other agendas here. I put down 3. I had 4, but I cut one because we got shit to do here. So, first agenda, I'm perpetuating this on behalf of the community. Kim Keehee over Jackson Reagan agenda. The people are talking. The people are murmuring. The people are saying, I don't want that line-breaking passer. I don't want that big boy from Michigan. I want that 85-year-old dude, Kim Keehee. Ari, how are we feeling about this agenda?
Look, I think Kim Keehee has deputized absolutely at as high a level as you could have possibly hoped for. I think he's looked great. I think he's turned out to be remember when they signed him and people were like,
that was me.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah, you're bringing it wasn't just you though.
It was others.
You're bringing back a retread. This is so unambitious and
I wasn't saying it was unambitious.
Really, there was discourse going on. Remember, because Ladero wanted to come back.
That's
and
where
there was
I
sort
was
of
at.
like
Yeah.
it was sort of maybe a debate of what should you do with that spot? Should you give it to Ladero or Kim Keehee? This is why they brought Kim Keehee back. Because apparently he's just an ageless wonder. He can
and making like
play at
no
this
money
level indefinitely. Yeah, here for love of the club, basically. And he's doing a great job. I do think that Jackson Reagan's passing ability is so valuable to this team, and I think we've seen, even with how well they've been playing lately, we've seen that they miss that attribute. It's a very unique attribute that he brings. So I just feel like that alone elevates the ceiling of the team to add that to what they've got going on right now. I honestly can't wait to see what it looks like when you have that when you have that in there. So I'm not there yet with this agenda, but I definitely do think that Kim Ki-hee is earning his keep on this team right now and absolutely deserves minutes and a big role.
Yeah, I don't agree with the agenda. What I will say though is Kim Ki-hee has definitely proven to be a great signing, and I was definitely very skeptical at the optics of like you said, signing him over Ladero, or just signing him in general and taking up a roster spot. It was just like, I don't know, do I want...
Anytime you have a guy in his mid-30s who played for the team previously and doesn't have like the icon status of a Ladero, people are going to... especially with all the ambition discourse that was going on.
There was
a
lot of that happening.
That narrative was probably inevitable, but another example of why it's good that fans aren't GMs.
Wait. Did Craig cook on this?
I think he might have.
I think Craig might have cooked on this.
We've been talking about how he might have cooked with the Ryan Kent thing, but he might have cooked here too. It's honestly,
I guess Kim reached out.
This,
to be fair,
yeah, but
I'm giving it to Craig. I don't care. I'm giving it to Craig.
I will say this:
he had to print out the contract. He had to send it via PDF, via Pigeon.
This has been a good 5-game stretch for Craig Weibs. It has.
See, I should have. You know what? I'm adding that to the agenda check right now. Is Craig Weibel cooking agenda? We checked in on this earlier. It was down in the dumps.
I took heat for it.
You took heat and said, "Ride it out. Let's see how it's going." So Craig's cooking. You just have bad taste. How are we feeling?
I mean, I'm gonna wait to I think we got to see how the rest of the season plays out. But if it keeps looking like this, you do have to give him credit. You do, You can't be on him all the time for whatever it was, for bringing Rusnák back, for De La Vega getting injured, for the JMO DP escalators. You can't both be on him for stuff like that constantly, all the time, but then not give him credit for stuff like Ryan Kent and Kim Ki-hee. What sense does that make? And Moose, by the way. Moose was such a key part of the anti-Weibs sentiment. It was he signed Danny Musovski as a striker on this team. What is he?
Guy,
what is he doing? This is a terrible. That's why he did it. This is why he did it. It worked. It looks like it's working.
I mean,
it did take a while to get there. I'll acknowledge that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you can say what you want about Moose. He's kind of vindicated at this point especially as a backup striker, you can only ask so much of a player who isn't getting consistent minutes to perform. And this is all you ask for, is that when there's an opportunity for you to step up and be that guy, you're that guy. And guess what? He's doing that, right? And so if that's what you're judging it on, by all means, that's a smash out of the park hit. If it was we want you to just be a super sub and score 1 million goals, it's been a rocky path, but we are where we are now, and that is what it is. But yeah, man, re-signing Rusnák to a DP contract, he's performing. He is performing to that 8 contributions just in MLS, that's goals and assists combined. You've got Ryan Kent. What an amazing bit of business. Maybe you can knock him for Jesus Ferreira, but
I don't even.
We talk about the business of it, right?
I'm absolutely not giving anyone who's trying to write the Ferreira thing as already an L. I'm not giving you that. It hasn't been as bad as a lot of people are saying, and there's still so much time left to go in the season.
Can I tell you a fun stat about Ferreira this game?
Yeah,
he went 100% on his passing.
And he had another really, really good dime.
Yeah, he had 2 really good dimes there. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, maybe he didn't get it done, but he sure had 100% passing, which he's a dish merchant. That brings me into my next one. This is actually a perfect segue. Albert Rusnák cannot play with Jesus Ferreira. Ari, I think it's pretty clear at this point that these two players need to exist on separate planes, on separate places, in separate worlds, in separate universes, on separate pitches. Because when they're together, they bring each other's They bring each other's floor down. But when they're by themselves, they are both really damn good at that 10 spot.
I was going to say, I think it seems that way, but what I would say is I don't think that's a bad thing.
No.
I think that means you have two incredibly sick number 10s.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I love that. Like, it'll be interesting to see who is like the regular starter and who's more of the super.
Got to be Bert, right?
Like the way I see it right now is it's Rusnák as like the week in, week out starter, and Ferreira as the super sub, which is it's kind of wild to think about, but I think that's just like the depth of the squad right now, like that. And really, I definitely think it's undeniable that Ferreira has looked way more effective having that role in that space to himself. But like just the situations that they're in where like you bring Pedro de la Vega and Jesus Ferreira in off the bench, like that is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's not a complaint from me. I mean, we've talked about terrorizing an already tired MLS defense, right? If think about this, right? If a team has to strategically game plan that they're going to need to sub or put in fresh legs in defense consistently against the Sounders, that takes away attacking options as subs against the Sounders. If you're gonna game plan that out, right? That's a really nasty thing to have. That's really a nasty thing to have. And what a game, like what a potential like game advantage that you can have with that. Pulling off, being able to swap a starting number 10 for a starting number 10 and basically have no drop off. Being able to swap wingers like they're candy in one of the like Halloween baskets that the lazy people leave outside. Handful. No one's going to notice because guess what? That candy bucket, it automatically refills, Ari. Because everyone on this team is a winger.
It's a great problem to have. And outside of the effect that it can have in the games themselves, like it's going to allow you to keep people fresh, you know? So
yeah, maybe they can't play together, but maybe that's not the end of the world.
I still, I don't know. Maybe I'm just out on an island on this, but I still think it's possible that they could get it to a place where it's more effective than it has been. But I definitely do think that we've seen enough now to credibly say that it's looked way better when they're not on the field together.
Yeah, and my final agenda for the agenda check of today. Knew who Defender of the Year candidate? ? He went 59 for... I'm the passing merchant guy today, but he went 59 for 60 on passing. And yeah, maybe he didn't have a monster game, but knew who Defender of the Year candidate? ?
I like this. I like this agenda. I like it. It wasn't as electric as is one of the best two-way fullback performances I've ever seen in the last game. But I thought he was locking it down like he usually does, and then just his decision making and like how when he chooses to make those movements forward and how he's combining with Ryan Kent, I thought again that looked really good. I think Nuhu. We'll see if he builds on this, but this is some of the best ball I think I've seen him play.
He is his own Defender of the Year. Like, if we're going to give an award to the best Nuhu season, I mean, it's shaping up to be by far the best, but that was a marathon agenda. Just so many agendas to be checked. So little time.
That was a good agenda check. We're going to take another ad break. And we're going to be right back with our blazing hot coach press conference of the week, sponsored by Hacks and Ferments.
The Seattle Sounders' brand new 2025 kit is here. Inspired by two traditional Southern Coast Salish weaving techniques, twilling and twinning. These techniques, passed down through generations, honor the resilience, deep-rooted ties, and and creativity that define the cultural fabric of this region. The striking deep blue jersey will be worn by the Sounders for the next 2 seasons to honor the club's deep connection with the Puget Sound and shared responsibility as stewards of the greater Salish Sea watershed. Backing up that commitment, the Seattle Sounders will donate up to $50,000 to benefit community charities around the Puget Sound region. To get your very own Salish Sea kit, visit lobbingscorchers.com/kit. That's lobbingscorchers.com/KIT.
Welcome back to the 100th episode of Lobbing Scorchers. Folks, we have got another, God, we've been so blessed with these. We have got another phenomenal Blazing Hot Coach Presser of the week, sponsored by Hacks and Ferments. And Noah, it's always great when the Blazing Hot Coach Presser comes from the Sounders game.
Yep.
That doesn't always happen. Like, we go all around the league for these. But this week...
There was a lot of fodder this week.
This week we were blessed with a great one from Houston Dynamo head coach Ben Olsen, who was not happy about the red card on Femi, not happy at all, and he was very happy to talk about it after. Well, he wasn't happy to talk about it, but he had a few things on his mind about this call and just the game in general. So we're gonna play some highlights from Benny O's post game press conference after this match day 12 game against Seattle, and then we are going to break it down, give our thoughts on Ben's takes.
All right, everyone. Hey, Coach Ben Olsen. Ben will open up to your thoughts.
I don't have anything. Go ahead.
Open up to questions. Start with David up front.
Coach, good evening, good night. Did the referee tell you anything about the red card?
I mean, he has his version. I have the version that I'm watching on the screen. I don't understand it. So I'll wait for an apology this week why we got our another red card against Seattle. It's six red cards in 7 games against Seattle. That's not normal, and I think that's a problem. I just completely disagree with the call. Yeah, the team's not going to quit. This isn't a quitting team.
I was looking at the red card. I didn't see anything that
you're not going to see. I've seen a few angles, pal.
I didn't see anything that registered a red card. Maybe a yellow card. Maybe
they'll come up with something. They'll come up with some explanation, and I've heard some of it already.
That was Houston Dynamo head coach Ben Olsen
Benny O.
after their match day 12 defeat to Seattle. Noah, just watching that again just now, I think that was the best Blazing Hot presser of the season, and I'm not just saying that because Seattle was the beneficiary of it. There was just so much good stuff there from Benny O. Where do we start? So I would say the first thing that I would say is, he goes with we're going to get an apology on this call this week.
Even before that, the reporter is scared to ask him about this red card. Like, everyone's already prepared for a Benny O
for a red hot Benny O. But I don't think they're going to get, like, that does happen sometimes where we're about to talk about it after this, where with the previous Seattle game. But this call, I don't think they're going to retroactively rescind this red because even if you don't think it's a handball, if it's called as such, then it is DOGSO, right?
Yep.
So I've been famously wrong about these things before. A couple years ago when Christian Roldan got a red, I tweeted that there's never been anything less likely in the history of MLS than this red card getting overturned, and then it got overturned. So it can be tough to predict sometimes, but
do you think they appeal that?
I think they'll probably try. But I don't think that one is getting overturned. I don't think they're going to apologize to Benny O.
He was hot, man, and I loved it. And I think my second favorite thing, I'm sure you're going to hit on it, is the grinding. They weren't grinding. My boys weren't grinding. They weren't grinding out a result. I mean,
Yeah, so to be fair, he acknowledged that even with that situation, his team didn't do what it needed to do to get a point out of the game. So there was that. But then, oh God, I mean, what else was he mad about? I think you could see at the end there, he finally got to the point that I would have made the whole time when he was talking about Femi, right?
Yeah.
When he was saying that regardless of what the call is, he needs to, he said he was naive in that situation, and that it's more about not putting yourself in that situation than whether or not the call was right or wrong. I think that is the takeaway that he should have been going with the whole time.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think the fact that he acknowledged that, I think should mitigate the outrage that he feels over the call. But I mean, what Benno is doing here is his team just lost at home. They're not having a very good start to the season in general. They're down like 12th or 13th, 14th, whatever on the table. So if you have a controversial refereeing decision that you can pin the result on, I think there's even an element of that that's like protecting your players. You know, if you blame it on the ref, blame it on the call, then it's like less on the team, right?
Yeah.
So that's what he's going for, and I think that's why he was coming in that hot, even though he acknowledged the mistake that Femi made on the play. But I don't know.
I mean, I love banging the table. He experienced the full run of emotions. He went through all of the grief stages. He started with anger and frustration, and then he went to bargaining about, well, they're going to apologize later. And then he went to, yeah, that's kind of just what happens with young center backs. He should have been stronger on the ball so he doesn't put himself in that situation in general.
That was a good answer.
That was a good answer. It was just like, I love how high he was.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. He put it way better than
like he's right. I mean, listen, and I mean, you got to stand up and defend your players, and I'll keep your locker room, but that was so funny for him to just be like, when the ref chose to make the game a loss for us. I always love that. That is like top 5 for me.
Another one was like the whole thing about like letter of the law, right? Like he's saying that
we get too wrapped up in the being played to the letter of the law instead of what's right. Buddy, what's right is the letter of the law, unfortunately.
Yeah, like what he's saying is like, even if it technically hit his hand, common sense should dictate that if he wasn't trying to do it, you shouldn't make a potentially game deciding call on a play like that. But I disagree with that, because the reality is, man, if that ball doesn't hit his hand, Moose is in on goal. And with the form that Moose is in right now, probably scores that. Like, he prevented an obvious goal scoring opportunity with his hand. So it's not about like rigid adherence to the letter of the law in the face of common sense. It's about you're really, really not allowed to deny an obvious goal scoring opportunity with your hand when you're the last guy back. So, like, I don't think what he's saying about the common sense call being like the more fair call there holds water. Like, it's not fair to the striker in that situation. It's also
if that was his striker, he's throwing a fit as well. By the way,
I watched it back a few times. Obviously, it's a great play by Moose.
Yeah, it is.
Like, his positioning and how he wins a ball off a goal kick like that and puts himself.
He's beat Femi at that point.
He's beat him, exactly. So like that is the one Benno quote when he started talking about letter of the law and common sense. So it's like, okay, so you're acknowledging that it was a handball, but you're saying that it shouldn't have been adhered to by the letter of the law. I don't know. Like, I feel like he was actually acknowledging that the call could have been correct with that one.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a confusing Benny Oppressor is an everyday Benny Oppressor.
I just feel so blessed that this game delivered us that content.
Yeah.
That was my favorite blazing hot presser of the year so far.
We are going to watch one more blazing hot coach press conference in the after show. So if you want to become a YouTube member, you're going to get one more extra Blazing Hot Coach press conference. All you got to do is hit the join button. If you're on mobile, hit the link in the description of this video. You can join and you'll unlock that exclusive secondary Blazing Hot Coach presser, which in my opinion, because this was my pick, I think this one's even funnier and more hot than this Benio one. So,
and also support Hacks and Ferments.
Yeah.
Use code LS and get a free hot sauce.
Free hot sauce when you buy anything.
All right, that was our Blazing Hot Coach Press Conference of the Week, sponsored by Hacks and Ferments. Shout out Ben Olsen for giving us that one. Great presser. No, our next topic is actually somewhat related to this, which is that the Seattle Sounders actually did get one of
They've been hard done, Ari.
They did get one of the pro apologies that Benio was referencing. Folks, they have come out, and this is shocking. They acknowledged that the handball in the St. Louis game was a missed call, which in the direct aftermath of that game, I called it the worst call I've ever seen. I still think it's the worst call I've ever seen.
Yes.
So not surprised to see this come out, but I'll just read the statement from Pro. The referee was incorrect to maintain his decision of no penalty after video review. The ball continued on the same general trajectory toward the goal after it had hit Nilsson's thigh and struck the arm, which was away from his body and made him unnaturally bigger. This was not a successful block with the body because there was no clear change in the direction of the ball. A penalty should have been awarded. So I'm glad they acknowledged it.
Yeah.
I'm glad they acknowledged it. And Pro actually has more transparency with this stuff than people give them credit for. I think people always talk about like, we need transparency. Greg Vanny's talking about we need them to do press conferences. They literally have a segment that they post on their website. It's awesome. It's called Inside Video Review, which the head of Pro or whatever hosts it. And he literally goes in to each one of these calls each and every week, and he gives his assessment on whether they got it right or wrong. And for a lot of them, they didn't for this one for potentially nefarious reasons, but they oftentimes with these videos, literally you can hear the audio.
I think they should release all of that in general. I think that's the only change
they do for the most part. I don't know.
I just think in general, I think the broadcast should have access to it as well.
Ooh.
I think that just is good television for one, and for two, I think that it helps quell general feelings around that and just feelings of transparency, right? Because you get the camera in there, but that's about it. People are like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know that these are real people. What I've loved is the referees getting to actually announce and address. It would be great if we could hear their comms while they're actually discussing
in
these
real
specific
time.
things.
That would be cool, but I appreciate how often they put them out after the
fact.
fact.
It was weird they didn't put this one out, though.
I know. I don't know why.
Man,
they're legitimately. I really recommend watching the videos.
Yeah, they're really well done.
It's well done, and it's interesting to hear how those comms go, even if we couldn't hear it in this situation.
Noted defenders of Pro here.
I mean, yeah, I've become the disgruntled ref guy the last few weeks, especially after the Defiance game. But I just wanted to deliver all that news to anyone who hadn't heard, because it was just so mystifying how they could have missed one that blindingly obvious. And then hearing their explanation of it, so there was the whole thing. The ref in his statement after the game to the pool reporter was talking about how it was all hinged on the fact that he was saying that it hit the thigh.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, so it hit his thigh. So whatever happened after that, that's not his fault. His arm was in a totally reasonable position. So the deflection, I still don't know about this supposed deflection. I don't think you could clearly and obviously see that, but they explain it right here. It had the same general trajectory toward the goal after it hit the thigh and struck the arm. Exactly. So, but how can you not see that in the moment? We can move on from this call after this, but I still.
It's a bad call. It's a bad call confirmed by Pro, and everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has those days. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody gets that way. Quote Hannah Montana. So that's where we're at.
All right. No, anything else you wanted to hit before we go around the league a little bit for winners and losers?
No, I'm stoked for a little winners and losers and Galaxy Schadenfreude, because we've never been a Galaxy podcast.
No, absolutely not. For the winners, I have both the Philadelphia Union and Columbus Crew who played this weekend. 2-2 draw. just an excellent game.
Yeah, this
high
was a
level
great-
footy, like so fun to watch. Two of the best teams in the league right now going at it. I thought 2-2 was was fair for how good of a game it was. And the Crew are really, really good. And the Philly Union are totally back, I think. They're really, really good. So that's a double winners for the week for giving that game as viewing for us. The New England Revs, they only took it was a 3-3 draw, but they had a really, really bad start to the season.
Yeah, they did.
Where they didn't score an open play goal for like 9 games or something.
Which was a good bit.
Yeah, which was a good bit. But Caleb Porter's actually got them playing like legitimately good ball right now. And they scored 3 goals in this game. And then CF Montreal. They've won a game.
They've done it. Ari.
They won a game. Who did they beat again? That's
I don't. It was someone that
it was someone.
New York.
They beat New York City
Yeah.
FC at Yankee Stadium.
Damn.
NYCFC is down bad for
Yankee
that.
with no brim.
But that leaves. I mean, we're about to talk about this in the loser section. But that leaves the LA Galaxy as the last team in Major League Soccer to not win a game. Congrats to CF
Embarrassing.
Montreal. You know, they're harmless out there. They're just trying to live their French Canadian life.
Yeah.
And
I've said it once, and I'll say it again. Not a real place. You cannot make me speak French. That's like you're not real.
I got no ill will towards CF Montreal. Happy to see them finally get in the win column against an NYCFC team that's not terrible. So good win for them. And then the losers. Let's just get right into it. The LA Galaxy, man. 7-0. We saw the Chicago Fire lose 7-2 a couple weeks ago.
At least they scored one.
At least they scored a couple goals after they went 7-0. They got the touchdown scored on them and the shutout
against the team they beat in the final last year. This shit was personal, Ari.
Yeah,
This shit was personal.
The Red Bulls got their revenge. Noah,
In a game that did not matter.
listen to this. The LA Galaxy are now 0-9-3.
Yep.
3 points on the season through 12 matches. 0.25 points per game with a negative 20 goal differential. 28 goals conceded, the most in MLS of any club.
Worst start in MLS history?
Not only is it the worst start of a season for a defending MLS Cup champion in league history, I think it's actually, I'm not sure about the exact stat on it, but if it's not the worst just general start any club has had in MLS history, it's like right up there. It's that bad. And man, the question I think right now with them is like, how long can Greg Vanney survive this?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
It's just like a crazy thing to be contemplating because they literally just won MLS Cup last year. I've never seen a club in a situation like this where they won MLS Cup and then start the next season so historically bad that like it seems like a foregone conclusion at this point that unless they really, really turn it around,
they're spooning.
They're spooning and
Back-to-back trophies.
Vanny's going to be out of there. But like I
wouldn't fire him.
I wouldn't, man. I think he's a good coach. I think their roster, he's clearly a good coach.
Yeah, he
built Toronto FC into a juggernaut, which that's honestly one of the most impressive accomplishments.
Yeah, like if
any
you know
MLS
anything about the Toronto ownership and shit like that.
Well, and look at what's happened to them since he left, right?
Yep.
And then he built the LA Galaxy into a juggernaut. It took him a couple years, but they won MLS Cup last year, had one of the best attacks that we've seen in MLS in the last few years. He didn't suddenly like just forget how to coach this season. That's not what happened.
No.
Like they had to shed like half their roster and they don't have Ricky Puig. Should it be this bad? Absolutely not. This is crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
this is brutal.
I don't understand how it's this bad. I was watching the highlights of the game and I was looking at their starting lineup and I was like, okay, I get that this isn't good, but it is not this bad. I don't know what's going on with how it's gotten to this, but I will say, I even if it stays this bad, I don't think I would fire him.
I would not. I would keep him. I think you have to look at what all they lost in this last season. They gave legitimately everything, built a roster on everything just so they could win MLS Cup. And they did it. They did exactly what they set out to do. The fan base was tired. They were upset. They got their president fired. There was so much change. They brought in, Vanny and all of this and all this new change. And they did exactly what they set out to do. The problem is they built a club specifically to do that. And then, the salary cap. That happens, man.
Something like...
Also, Marco Royce, probably the worst signing, one of the worst signings in MLS history.
He's been a bust. But I don't know. What's happening to them, even with the salary cap stuff taken into account. We've seen teams before be in a situation where they've had a run like that and then had to blow it up. And it should not be this bad. There's no way. There's no way.
No, it seems like a very demoralized team. It seems like a team that is kind of just mentally beat down. And it might just be one of those things where you literally sold your soul to win the cup, and now you're going to have you have blowback.
I've been saying the entire time that the trade-off was worth it. This is so bad right now that it's making me question.
Yeah.
Would you trade the MLS Cup to just have a normal season to not this tire fire?
The
answer is no, but the fact that it's gotten to a point where that thought has even entered my head is just crazy.
It is wild. I don't think anyone could have predicted this. Let's just say.
Oh, hell no. I think, if anything, I thought they were still going to be... I think everyone knew they were going to take a step back. Everyone saw what happened with their roster over the offseason. But I couldn't have fathomed 09 and whatever it is. Jesus, 09 and 3.
Just awful.
Crazy. I didn't even have them written down here, but let's do some Atlanta United shot and Frei.
Yep.
Let's just do it.
Yep.
They're not as down bad as the Galaxy, but they're pretty close. They lost 2-1 at Chicago, and I think this was one of their worst performances.
Garth out.
They might be starting to talk about that soon because this was not good.
Anytime you lose to Greg Berhalter and the Chicago Fire is a day that you should question everything about your football club.
So they went down 1-0, and then they tied it on one of the worst own goals that I've ever seen, and it was unfortunately scored by Big Sam Rogers.
Yeah, Sam.
I think he's been. I actually have no idea what his form has been like for them this year. Their defense hasn't been very good, so maybe not that good. But they get just an absolute gift. They were generating nothing in attack the whole game. They get a gift of an own goal where they weren't going to score the winner. But they could have been if they had kept that at 1-1 off that own goal, they could at least have some sort of something to hang their hat on coming out of a game where they had another really bad performance. And then they immediately concede again. They just seem very fragile mentally.
Yeah.
And there's just so much stuff going wrong. I think it's funny, but it's not good for them. So the Almiron move hasn't worked at all. Latte Loth is doing good, but it isn't helping anything. But just a couple of Click from DC, who I think I spoke highly of that move, has been a bust. This Marinchuk guy.
Oh my God.
Send
him anywhere. Sell him.
He committed a handball penalty in this game. Where did you see the replay of this?
Oh yeah.
He
Bro dribbled like a basketball.
He stuck his arm out and looked like he intentionally put his elbow into it.
What are you doing, bro? What are you doing?
They spent $10 million on that guy, and we were talking about it with Jo on the postgame live, but he might be one of the biggest busts I can remember. In terms of not only not contributing, but actively bad.
Yeah, what was this? What was this sign? Send him back to the Farmers League known as Serie A. That's my take.
It's just, I'm going to stay on the Atlanta United beat because I just think it's fascinating how, the Galaxy thing, as surprising as it is, you can explain it. They had to shed their entire team and Ricky Puig is injured.
Correct.
The Atlanta thing, everyone, I bought into it. I'm an idiot. I bought into it again. But you know what I think is...
Someone sell this guy some fool's gold.
You know what I think is interesting about this is that if you go back or remember Garth's quotes from before the season, he could have hedged a little bit.
Yeah.
He could have said, we got a new coach coming in. We've had some, we got some new players that we got to integrate. We're really confident that we're going to be a lot better than we have been. It might be a little bit of a process, but I think we're going to get there. Like he could have said all that. Garth was talking all in the lead up to this season. He literally said, "We're back, baby." At one point when they signed Marinchuk, I think he said, "We're back, baby." Like it took me a little bit, but like we got this thing rolling. He said had multiple quotes to the effect of like it's on us now to like re-earn our fans' trust, and we really feel like we've done that, and we're gonna go out there and we're gonna show that this year. He was like talking it up in a way that with this outcome, it doesn't look great.
No, it doesn't. It looks actively not great, actually, and I fear that Garth might be on fraud watch. Atlanta United are for sure on fraud watch. I mean, it is. I don't
even know if it's watch at this point.
It's just fraud. They're just committing fraud. They are stealing. Okay. New agenda, Ari. Atlanta United's front office are stealing money from an old senile man.
Arthur B in this case?
Yeah. Arthur blank checks.
Man,
I'm just saying. They're going to need some Home Depot shovels because he might bury these guys under this stadium if they can't figure this out.
He's got to be upset right now. Last loser of the week, Inter Miami.
Oh, yes. Oh.
4-1 defeat at Minnesota United. The vibes are way off. Ever since they crashed out of CCC, it seems like it's kind of torpedoing, to be honest with you. And Noah, I'm starting to think that hiring Lionel Messi's boy from Barcelona as your head coach when he had no experience doing so at the club level at all, and definitely no MLS experience, starting to think that might not have been a good idea.
Ari, I agree.
It's like it's a little validating, I think, because when that hire was made, we were both like, all right, that is not a good hire, but they're just so stacked that it's not going to matter. And that's kind of frustrating, but whatever. It does matter.
It does.
It does. I think it does.
Well, if you look at what Tata was doing, and this is a take that I'm stealing here from Flavian Rankel. I'm stealing this from you. You said, if you look at the way that they used to play this team, the Barca boys were not going 90. The Barca boys were playing 70 minutes, 60 minutes, going crazy, and then they were taking them off. They're playing these guys 90 minutes. And it is so clear that those minutes are weighing on them, and it's decaying this club. And then crashing out of Champions League for them, I think it might just blow up this entire experiment.
It low key looks like that might happen, because like the thing is, Messi is clearly pissed right now.
Yeah, he's not happy.
They won a game last week by 3 goals, and he was still pissed.
Yeah, and he can't be happy to lose in a revenge match from Julian Gressel, who I still believe he farted in front of Messi, and Messi had him traded, because inexplicably Julian Gressel just stopped showing up on Inter Miami rosters. Something must have happened. He has a podcast.
He said that Mascherano told him that he didn't fit the system, which
Mascherano doesn't have a system.
Well, also Julian Gressel doesn't fit. Julian Gressel, it's just like, I feel like any system could use a guy that has that good a wide service, unless you just never are trying to create danger from out wide. Like, what system are you like, oh no, Gressel is like, I don't know. Maybe that's some tactics that are above my head, but that whole thing felt weird. Good on Julian Gressel for his new team, destroying them like that. But it's going to be interesting to see if this downfall continues, because this was supposed to be, this has been a juggernaut team. They set the points record. They set the points record.
But what does that matter?
It means they were clearly far and away the best team over the course of the entire season last year.
Yeah, but that was the only trophy. Like, okay, here's my question, I guess. to you and to those in the audience. If the experiment at Inter Miami ends with Messi winning only a Supporters Shield
And a Leagues Cup.
Okay, yeah, and a Mickey Mouse Leagues Cup. I guess they did play Columbus, but are those two trophies together? Is that a success? Is that a success for Messi in MLS?
No, it's a letdown. It's not. Some people are gonna say abject failure. I'm not gonna say abject failure. When whatever you want to say about Leagues Cup, they had a great run in that tournament. They beat a couple.
They beat
Liga
FC
MX
Dallas
teams.
and
they beat Cruz Azul. So it was, and that is considered a major trophy. Like, so I personally don't consider that nothing. But I'm not a Shield truther, but I do think the Shield matters. I think it is the demonstration of who actually had the best team all year. And they did that at a historic pace. So they were very clearly at their peak, one of the most elite teams I've seen definitely play in the league. Some of the footy they were playing was some of the most dynamic attacking soccer that I've seen in the league. So all that is still true. But the reality is I
just want to let you know, Inter Miami did not play a single Liga MX team. In 2023 when they won,
they beat Cruz Azul in the first game.
No, that was Charlotte. Orlando they played.
I don't know what you're looking at, but remember Messi hit the.
Oh, that was the round of that was the group stage.
Oh, okay.
So I guess you're right. They did, but if you're looking at straight bracketology, if you're just looking at the playoff games, Inter Miami played Orlando, beat Orlando. They beat FC Dallas in penalties. They beat Charlotte, and then they beat the Union, and then in the final, they beat Nashville.
Yeah,
that's right. And it was at Nashville. So, I mean, not like that. Okay, a tournament is a tournament. Anyone can turn up, but come on.
I don't even think you need to take anything away from the Leagues Cup to say that it would be a big disappointment if the Leagues Cup and the Shield are the only thing that they won.
That's fair.
Like the whole point of this was to dominate everything, to win CCC, to go make noise at this Club World Cup that they got a charity spot in.
Oh, that's going to be so interesting.
Now I'm looking at that and I'm like, man, what if they crash out of that in embarrassing fashion?
They got to fire Mascherano if they crash out of Club World Cup, right?
I mean, I think it depends in the manner, but just the vibes right now, it seems like it's going down a dark path, which is funny for us.
It's funny for us, and I feel like Tata is vindicated. They disappeared the guy, and they disappeared the coach after him.
Yeah,
for farting on the bus. Messi doesn't like guys who fart around him.
Apparently not. All right, Noah. I think that's a good place to end it. Unless you got anything else you wanted to hit.
No.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to episode 100. Great milestone for us. Again, we really appreciate all the support and the increased viewership. It's been crazy to reflect on the journey from episode 1 to triple digits, episode 100. And we're going to keep the road to 200 starts now.
Wow.
We're going to keep churning out this content. I'll be back at it Monday morning with Lobbing Scorchers kickoff with Nico Moreno. Got Thursday evening Under the Lights.
We'll probably put out another podcast this week too because we got midweek game.
We got a midweek game.
Post-game reactions.
Comment, subscribe.
Share with Ty Baribo. I don't know.
Share with Javier Mascherano.
Yep.
Share with all your friends.
Julian Gressel.
Follow us on Instagram. I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time. Until then, we out.
Peace.